Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Artful Minds. Today I am truly honored to welcome a very special guest on my episode, Dr. Bhaskar Bora. He is a doctor, author, entrepreneur, and mental health advocate. I'm truly honored, sir. Please welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tashreen. It's an absolute pleasure to be talking with you today. খুব ভাল লাগিছে আমি যদিও লগ পোৱা নাই so but to meet virtually and to talk today I'm looking forward to it.
Hi, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, sir. Before we talk about how the life gave you second chance, মই এইটো জানিব বিচাৰো যে আপোনাৰ এজ এ চাইল্ড আপোনাৰ লাইফ কেনেকুৱা আছিল গ্ৰয়িং আপ ইন আছাম?
um, I think it was very good. My actually because my dad was in a job which required transfer every 3 years or so. So সেইকাৰণে বহুত জেগাত থাকিলো, বহুত বেলেগ বেলেগ স্কুলত পঢ়িলো. Although it was hard work going and getting accustomed to every new school and a new place, but on the other hand, it gave us the experience of making more friends. আৰু মই একচুৱেলি মেট্ৰিক মই যোৰহাট এয়াৰফৰ্চ চেণ্ট্ৰেল স্কুলৰ পৰা পাছ কৰিছোঁ. So I've made friends who have lasted for a lifetime. So it was fantastic. So we were two brothers, me and my brother, Aru Ma Deuta. So I had a very good childhood. I think they took care of everything that they could. That was a time when we didn't have WhatsApp or Instagram or anything. I remember the first time the television, black and white television, came to our home and ওচৰ পাজৰ চব মানুহে আহি একেলগে টিভি চাইছিলে. So those were different times. I think that doesn't mean I'm that old, but even then, it was a time when we had to be pulled indoors rather than being pushed outdoors as it is now. So খুব ক্ৰিকেট খেলিছিলো, স্কুলত গৈ ফূৰ্তি কৰিছিলো. So বন্ধু বান্ধৱৰ লগত যোৰহাটত খুব চাইকেল চলাইছিলো. So those sort of things. So yeah, I was privileged to have not an exotic or a luxurious childhood, but yeah, we were very well looked after by our parents and had a great time.
আৰু সৰুৰ পৰাই আপোনাৰ এইম আছিলে নে ডক্টৰ হোৱাৰ নে টাইমৰ লগত চেঞ্জ হ'ল? বিকজ মোৰ এইম ইন লাইফ বহুত কেইটা চেঞ্জ হৈ ফাইনেলি এতিয়া যোনটো কৰি আছো। বিকজ মই আগতে মোৰো
Um,
মেডিকেললে প্ৰিপেয়াৰ কৰিছিলো, বাট আনফৰ্চুনেটলি 1 মাৰ্কছৰ কাৰণে নহলে। ত' লাইফ অলৱেজ হেজ ডিফাৰেণ্ট প্লেন। চ' আপোনাৰ কেনেকুৱা আছিলে?
Yeah, for some reason I was always fascinated by the white coat. খুব ভাল লাগিছিলে. At that time there was a program called ER, or emergency room, which showed trauma surgery and everything in America basically. So সেইবোৰ দেখি পেলাই এনেকুৱা লাগিছিলে মানে this was one profession where you get to change lives, save lives and those sort of things. আৰু কোনোবা এজন মানুহে কৈছিলে মানে I think it was one of the off the cuff remarks sort of thing যে তোমাৰ আঙুলি কেইটা দীঘল, you'll make a good doctor, that sort of random thing, and it just kind of stayed, and I just thought that I would just become a doctor. My other thing was that I wanted to go into fine arts, so my painting কৰি খুব ভাল পাইছিলো. My first income was through drawing portraits and stuff like that. So মা দেউতাহঁতক কৈছিলো যে এবাৰ শান্তি নিকেতন যাওঁ বুলি, গালি খালো. That's not the way you earn. আৰু সেইটো সময়ত মানে ইমান কেৰিয়াৰ অপশ্যনছো নাছিলে. You either go into science or arts, and if you go into science then you become a doctor, an engineer, that sort of thing. So so that's how I think right from childhood itself I had this fascination of becoming a doctor, which by grace of God I did become. মোৰ ক্লাছ টিচাৰ আৰু কেইবাগৰাকী টিচাৰে মোক বহুত মানে কম্পিটিটিভ এক্সামছ দিবৰ কাৰণে, চিভিল চাৰ্ভিচত যাবৰ কাৰণে খুব হেৰি কৰিছিলে. But somehow I knew that I was not built for civil services and being bullied by politicians and those sort of things. So সেইটো মোৰ দ্বাৰা নহ'ব বুলি জানিছিলো. So সেইকাৰণে মই সেইটো লাইনত নগলো. Otherwise that would have been the other thing that I would have gone into.
উম, বাকী আপোনাৰ মেডিকেলটো ইণ্ডিয়াৰ পৰাই কৰিছে মানে অসমৰ পৰা কৰিছে নে
হয়,
বাহিৰত
মই গুৱাহাটী মেডিকেল কলেজৰ পৰা পাছ কৰিছোঁ।
কৰিছে ন? বাকী তাৰ পাছৰ জাৰ্ণিখিনি এতিয়া আপুনি ক'লে ভাল হ'ব।
Oh, তাৰপিছত it was an interesting journey actually. Medical college, just like all other medical students, had a uh, good student life. যথেষ্ট এনজয় কৰিলোঁ, পঢ়িলোঁ, পাছ কৰিলোঁ, and সেইটো সময়ত এনেকুৱা আছিলে মানে used to get around 1,200 to 1,500 rupees as a stipend, monthly stipend for working in Assam, but you used to get 15 to 20,000 working in Delhi. So, okay, I'm talking back 1999. So en mass আমি মানে সব দিল্লীলৈ গৈছিলো ইটোৱে সিটোক সহায় কৰি কৰি তেনেকে জব মানে এইটোৱে হেৰি কৰিছিলো so I joined the hospital called Deen Dayal Upadhyay in West Delhi. Was having a terrific time, new doctor, earning a lot of money, because that was quite a lot of money at that point in time. And yeah, I thought this is it. Life is sorted. So বহুত ফূৰ্তি চুৰ্তি কৰিছিলো. Then unfortunately one fine day, I think precisely it was on the 6th of August 2000, হঠাতে ইয়াৰ পৰা মায়ে ফোন কৰিলে that মোৰ দেউতা, he had a massive stroke and he went into coma, and he was put on a ventilator at GNRC hospital. So immediately I had to come back. That was also an interesting story. When I Dormaha or something like that, we didn't have enough money to buy a flight ticket. Flight journey was still a luxury at that time. So মই মানে মোৰ লগৰ এটাই গোটেই হোষ্টেলত ডক্টৰছ হোষ্টেলত মই ক'লে যে such thing has happened, and we need to help him get to his father. আৰু বিলিভ ইট অৰ নট মানে যাৰ হাতত যি পইচা আছিলে ফ্ৰম 5 rupee নোট টু 500 rupee নোটৰলৈকে যোনে যি পাইছিলে তেনেকে পইচা দিছিলে আৰু চবে মানে মোৰ আহি বিচনাখনত মানে পইচা দিছে আৰু সেই পইচাখিনি চবে লৈ গোটাই মিলি ইট ৱাজ এৰাউণ্ড 6,000 চামথিং সেয়া টিকেট লৈ মই আহিলো দিল্লীৰ পৰা গুৱাহাটী. In fact, till this date, I don't know if I repaid all of them back, but that was a big symbol of humanity, and friendship. সেই যে আহিলো মই আৰু ঘূৰি যাব নোৱাৰিলো. Fact, so মোৰ দেউতা 29 days hospital থাকিলে. That was the first big shock of my life when the sky kind of fell on my head. And so মই চাকৰি টাকৰি চব বাদ দিব লগা হ'ল. I wasn't able to go back. Fortunately, my dad survived. Everybody said Nabasibo, but he did by grace of God. And তাৰপিছত ঘৰলৈ আনিলো. So I had to take a decision whether I'd go back to my career or I spend the time with him. So সেই সময়ত ভাবিলো যে নাই মানে কেৰিয়াৰ কাৰণে মোৰ টাইম আছে, কিন্তু দেউতাক বচোৱাটো এতিয়া মোৰ প্ৰায়ৰিটি. So spend one whole year with him. মই আৰু মোৰ মায়ে দেউতাৰ লগত মানে গোটেইখিনি সময় কটালো. So and he got better. তাৰপিছত 21 years he lived, and his blessings were on us. But during that 1 year, I did all sorts of things, right from driving cabs, taxi, নিজৰ গাড়ী আছিলে, ড্ৰাইভাৰো আছিলে, গুৱাহাটী শ্বিলং টেক্সি কৰিছিলো, কিবা কিবি বিজনেছ কৰিলো, and lots of other things, including getting quite derailed of my track. Uh, to the point that my friends were beginning to get worried about me. They কি হব ইয়াৰ আকৌ মানে সি ডক্টৰে গৈ পাবগৈ নাই. That was tough time as well. Thinking about it makes me reflect even now. And that was the time when I met my future wife. So and মোৰ লগৰখিনিয়ে মানে বহুত হেৰি কৰিলে. So they got me into the relationship thinking that this is one person who can get him back on track, sort of thing. তাৰপিছত মা দেউতাহঁতেও পচন্দ কৰিলে এই কৰিলে, and yeah, so we got engaged on the every promise that I would get back to medicine. and then that's when I joined uh, Kakojan Tea Estate, Jorator Usorote. So Kakojan Tea Estate as a medical officer. That's how I got out of all these things that I was doing in Guwahati. Having said that, all the things that I did helped me earn good money, and that's how I was able to support my brother, who was in the final year of engineering, and also run the family. মানে দেউতাটো হঠাতে মানে stroke হৈ এনেকুৱা হ'ল, ঘৰৰ কোনো income source নাছিলে. So whatever I did, I didn't do anything unethical, but I did lots of unconventional things, so to say. তাৰপিছত কাকজান টি এষ্টেটত গ'লো. So then began another phase of life. I was there for a year and a half. That's when we got married. We had a good life there. But after a year or so, it started feeling very stagnant. So although I had all the convenience of life, including orderlies and all sorts of things, but I felt that we needed some more challenges, some more progression in life. So তাৰপিছত কাকজানৰ পৰা resign কৰিলো. Then we moved back to Delhi. So both me and my wife Meghali, and that's when the struggle started again from zero. So and then during this period of time, there were because I wasn't able to give my postgraduate exam that year. So তেনেকুৱা হয় ন মানে বন্ধু বিলাকে ভালকে ভাবিলেও মানে it sounds very patronizing or বেলেগে মানে family member তোৰ এতিয়া কি হ'ব, what will you do in life, চব আগবাঢ়ি গ'ল তই থাকি গ'লি, that sort of thing. So মোৰ ভিতৰত there was a kind of এটা জেদ এটা হৈ গ'ল. So there was a kind of uh, challenge that I built up for myself, that I have to do something good and I have to do get out of here basically. So we went back to Delhi and then joined Apollo Hospital, and that's when I started working towards going abroad. So initially the plan was to go to Canada, but as things happen, everything just worked towards the UK. And a friend of mine, he helped me a lot, but because he was the one who had all the information about the exams and everything. So I did the exams with him. Unfortunately, he didn't clear his exams and he gave up his medical career altogether because of this. But I landed in the UK, and here we are. So it's quite a fascinating story, but every day of that, I learned something new.
Really inspiring, sir. Then life was going good in London, but unfortunate incident to the whole hit to 2019, right? So it was so
2019, yeah.
okay. So
So
hit to
yeah, so again in London, being in a new country, right from looking for the first job, we stayed there in East London, where most medical people used to go because it was a lot cheaper than the posher parts of London. So tate gulu tate we just started from zero. Initially had to do unpaid work, observership, and all that, and then finally got my first job. Initially, we rented one single room. Then we got hospital accommodation. Then we had our first rental accommodation in the one of the attic house flats. So hey, teneke kuri kuri. So uh, it was 4 years since we got married, but because of our career struggles and all, we were not able to even think of a child. We could not afford one. So, কিন্তু সেই মানুহে কোৱা আৰম্ভ কৰে আৰু what's the problem? ইমান দিন কিয় ল'ৰা ছোৱালী নাই? That sort of thing. So I had one idea in my mind যে যদি মানে ল'ৰা ছোৱালী হয় তাৰ আগতে ঘৰ এটা কিনিব লাগিব. So নিজৰ ঘৰত মানে ল'ৰা ছোৱালী কৰিম. So, fortunately, somehow, as it happened, I was able to buy our first house. আৰু এই ঘৰ কিনি সোমোৱাৰ এই দুসপ্তাহ মানৰ পিছতে we had our first daughter, and then we had our second daughter 3 years later, and yeah, I started doing well. I finished my post graduation. Then joined as a junior partner in one of the clinics, and then so he was like a godfather to me, the senior partner. And then I ended up building 5 clinics in London, and then had a couple of other investments and all. I became the first Assamese to open a cocktail bar and a restaurant in London. So everything, I mean, from zero, it reached to the peak quite fast. And once again, I thought, yes, I'm sorted for life. So ভালোই হয়েছিল financially, I was doing well. Family wise, we were a complete family. We started traveling as much as we could, and then suddenly this happened. So it was meant to be a minor surgery, as the surgeon had explained. So because more I had a trapped nerve, যিটো কাৰণে মোৰ খুব ডিঙিৰ বিষ হয়, and I had pain going down the left arm. So it was meant to be an operation where they would just release that nerve, and I would just need to stay for one night in the hospital and then rest for 2 weeks and get back as normal. Into keyhole operation to something happened, and the moment I woke up from the anesthetics from the surgery, I lost the feeling of both my legs and the right hand, these fingers of my right hand. So, my doctor Kolu, they more I'm not feeling my legs. I'm not able to pass urine, that sort of thing. But instead of rushing me back to the theater, somehow he thought of giving me steroids and kept me under observation. So Hetu Kori was there for 4 days before finally they decided to go for another operation. Hey, that 4 days delay left me with a permanent disability. And I was that one night stay in the hospital got prolonged to almost 7 months when I was sent from one hospital to another for further numerous further surgeries for rehabilitation and all that. So yeah, the whole thing changed, and I had to take ill health retirement or medical retirement from my flourishing medical practice at that time, and I became a patient instead of a doctor. So it's been 6 years since.
আৰু 2019 আগত তাতে কিমান বছৰ হৈছিলে আপুনি যোৱাৰ পৰা এই ইনসিডেন্টলৈকে?
আমি 2004 গৈছিলো. So 2004 so yeah, so we got British citizenship 2010. So yeah, so it was 15 years at least, yeah.
আৰু সেইখিনি সময়ত আপুনি যিহেতু বহুত মানুহে গিভ আপ কৰে, ৰাইট? মানে আপুনি পেচেণ্টক ট্ৰিট কৰাৰ অপজিটত য'ত আপুনি পেচেণ্ট হ'ব লগা হ'ল, তো সেইটো টাইমত আপুনি নিজকে কি কৈছিলে যোনটোৱে আপোনাক সাহস দিছিলে যে নাই আকৌ ষ্টাৰ্ট কৰিব লাগিব? তো আপোনাৰ কোনটো ফাৰ্ষ্ট ডিচিজন আছিলে
So
যে অ'কে আই হেভ টু ষ্টাৰ্ট ইট অল অভাৰ এগেইন?
it was a journey. It was quite a difficult journey, I must say. So, as I said, my বেলেগ hospitalত মোক ৰাখিলে, and মানে বেছিভাগ সময় অকলেই থকা গৈছিলে হস্পিটেলত, আনলেছ মানে like physiotherapy twice a day, occupational therapy once a day, psychological sessions, and all sorts of things. So my daughters, they were 12 and 9 at that time. So যথেষ্ট সৰুৱে হৈ আছিলে. So I so we kind of decided Meghali and the girls should not come to see me more than once a week, because every time they came, it was traumatic for them and it was traumatic for me as well. So I spent a lot of time alone, which gave me a lot of time for introspection. I started reading books and listening to audiobooks particularly. আৰু বহুত বহুত কিতাপ চিতাপ পঢ়িব ললো, and often I would think যে মানে কি হব এতিয়া, এই ছোৱালীহঁতৰ কি হব, মানে they are still young, what can I do? There were some very low points, the lowest of which I can think was the day when I tried to get out of bed, but at that time my legs didn't work at all. I had to I had to actually look at them and kind of command them to move my toes. It was that sort of thing, like you see in the movies. It actually works. Yeah.
Mm.
So hey, তেনেকুৱা কৰি, so এদিন মানে I really had the urge to go to the toilet, but I could not call the nurse because the bell to call the nurse that fell off from the bed, and I was trying very hard to get out, but by by the time I wet the bed, so there was a nurse ahile. ভাবিছিলো কোনোবা মেল নাৰ্ছ আহিব, ছোৱালীজনী ফিমেল নাৰ্ছে আহিলে, and she was very good. So she did what she was meant to do, just to strip someone of their clothes and change their clothes, change the bed clothes and everything. So that was the time when that occasion, I really felt like a cripple. When I was just lying there and she was doing everything for me, and that's when I kind of, it just came across me that I have to take control of this. Either I give up completely, or I have to take the bull by the horns and make a difference. So সেইদিনা ভাবিলো যে নহয় মই কিবা কিবা এটা কৰিব লাগিব. We just can't go down like this. I was really worried about the finances more than anything, as to about the family security and everything. And so that was one occasion. There was another occasion when I just thought that I should just end it. যদি কিবা গাড়ী এক্সিডেণ্টে হয় বা কিবা এটা হয়, somehow I die, I'd be released and I'd be relieved. But then suddenly the face of my younger daughter Nikita, it just came to my mind, and then I realized, it's very selfish of me to think like that. So
Mm.
how can I just leave them like this and take the easy way out? So I have to take control. And that's when I started. The first step was accepting that things will not be what they used to be. So
Mm.
it's a new normal for me. I have to start afresh from where I am. I have to find ways to earn. I have to find ways to look after myself. And that was it, really. And then also another thing had happened that, you know, just after a month or so, when the first time when I was discharged to go home, and then I had to be admitted again. I was discharged to go home. মই ঘৰত গৈছো that, sorry. তো মোৰ দুটা কুকুৰ আছে. So I have two dogs, Shadow and Snoopy. So Shadow is the Labrador, and he just started licking my neck all of a sudden.
Mm.
He just started licking my neck, and he wouldn't let go of me. And this is something he had never done before. He was Jurjavasti more for Bohilo, and he's a huge dog.
Mm.
He's about 50 kilos, but Iman Dagon. So he just got on top of me, started licking my neck. We are not letting me go. Bare bare request. So তাৰপিছত মোৰ আকৌ যেতিয়া এডমিট হলো, এদিন মই পৰিলো, উঠিব নোৱাৰা হলো. Then I got admitted again for rehab, and they started doing serial MRIs on me. One of the MRIs showed that I had a cancer in my thyroid in my neck, the same place where he started leaking. So
Mm.
যেতিয়া সেই cancer diagnosis to hold, somehow, although it was quite, I was lucky that it was diagnosed quite early, in quite an early stage. Somehow it gave me some sort of enlightenment that this is it. Now know that I have got limited time. I need to make the most of it, and I will try to make the most out of it. So that the kind of impact, usually cancer diagnosis was something when it makes people depressed, but in
Mm.
my case, it actually gave me a lift up. Aru, তাৰপিছত, so after a month and a half or something, I had the operation, and then I came to India, to Kerala, for Ayurvedic treatment for 3 months. তাৰ আগতে কেইদিনমানৰ কাৰণে আকৌ মোক ঘৰত discharge কৰিছিলে.
এইটো
সেইবাৰ
during
যাওঁতে
COVID
কিন্তু,
time maybe, right?
sorry.
এইটো মানে during COVID time চাগে ন? 19 ৰ পৰা
Just before
20.
COVID, just before COVID. Yeah, COVID just started. When people started talking about COVID, এই তেতিয়াই এইটো হৈছিলে so সেইবাৰ কিন্তু মই ঘৰত যাওঁতে he did not do that licking again so it was quite astounding মানে did he actually know that I had something wrong I had a form of cancer or something as a koi when dogs can
হয়.
smell that sort of thing so that was that so yeah I stayed in Kerala for 3 months and that's where I was able to stand up again and again spent a lot of time by myself and that's when I started writing so I started writing just on social media everything what had happened what I'm going through what I'm trying to do sort of thing আৰু যি লিখো তাতে চোন বহুত comments আহা হ'ল মানে 300-400 likes 50-60 comments that sort of thing so, and most of the comments were like, well, got really inspired with your story. Why don't you start writing more? That sort of thing. And that's how I took up writing more and more seriously. Someone offered to do edit a book for me if I write. Then I was assigned an editor. That's how the first book came about. So yeah, things just happened there. Once I accepted and I decided to make the best of whatever I have got left, then I think God has helped and things just started happening. Some things I can't explain how it happened.
বাকী আপোনাৰ এতিয়া কেঞ্চাৰটো ঠিক হ'ল পুৰা? Right.
সেইটো that the thyroid glandত হৈছিলে so thyroid was taken out so এতিয়া একো তেনেকুৱা হেৰি নাই so মাজে মাজে স্কেন কৰাই থাকিব লাগে I don't know what is in the future but as of now as far as I know তেনেকুৱা একো নাই so এতিয়া plus the biggest problem is I just can't walk normally and I suffer from a lot of pain so neuropathic pain due to কাৰণে I had to take about 16 tablets a day because there's pain like electric shocks going through my legs all the time. Don't have very good control of the bladder, so I kind of got bahirot joa to problem. So often when I pad sets spinning again, and then I tend to fall over because I can't keep my balance, so I have to use two sticks on either side. I got a wheelchair. Now I try to walk with the crutches as much as I can. দিগদাৰ হয় কিন্তু yeah I'm trying to be as normal as I can মাজে মাজে depression হয় মানে বহুত কাম কৰিব নোৱাৰো the things that I used to like especially like riding a bike or a cycle or walking my dogs and those sort of things or playing with the girls সেইবোৰ কৰিব নোৱাৰো but yeah there are people who are worse off than me so I'm trying to look at the positives.
Because our মাইণ্ডটোৱে ফাৰ্ষ্টত গিভ আপ কৰে, ৰাইট? বডিটোৱে দেৰিকে কৰে। আপোনাৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত আই থিংক আপুনি বহুত কৰি আছে এতিয়াও, এনেকুৱা এনেকুৱা অৱস্থাটো আপুনি বহুতখিনি কৰি আছে, যোনটো ৰিয়েলি ইনস্পিৰেশ্যন ফৰ আদাৰ্ছ। আৰু আৰু এতিয়া আপোনাৰ কি আছে মনত যে নেক্সট আপুনি কৰিব বিচাৰে এনেকুৱা?
So এতিয়া এটাটো হ'ল writing. I think I have found my niche in terms of writing, especially from being a non-literature background. মই লিখাখিনি যে কোনোবাই পঢ়িছে, so I take that as an honor from the books and everything. So I get invited to talk at different places or like we are doing today as এতিয়া কথা পাতিছো এইখিনি কথা হয়তো আৰু দুই চাৰিজনে শুনিব so I try to touch lives as much as I can counseling guru so I'm an honorary advisor to Cotton University and a couple of other universities and organizations as well. Mentor guru, Bohutok, including lots of successful entrepreneurs. And I do this completely free of cost. ল'ৰা ছোৱালীকো মেণ্টৰ চেণ্টৰ কৰোঁ। So সেইখিনিয়ে মেইন I want to do it in a better, bigger way. Um, এটা সময়লৈ যদি পইচা পাতি আকৌ হেৰিছে হয়, so I want to get into philanthropy full time. Other than that, somehow I've grown into spirituality. Spirituality, when you talk about spirituality, it sounds like a cliche, right? When it sounds like something completely different to what we do in day-to-day life. But I have realized that it is actually part of our day-to-day life. So that's how I've got more and more into it. ভগৱান আগতেও মানিছিলো কিন্তু ইমান বেছিকে হেৰি নকৰিছিলো বা বুজি নাপাইছিলো now as I'm getting deeper and deeper into it, like studying ancient scriptures and those sort of things, not from a religious point of view but more from a faith and mysticism point of view, এই তেনেকে বহুত কথা শিকিছো, সেইবোৰ দি ভাল লাগে. I am now learning what detachment means, what feeling liberated means, so those sort of things. So সেইবোৰ লাহে লাহে শিকিছো. So and finding it all quite addictive in a way, actually. Or
True.
surrender, especially total surrender and those sort of things, you know. So irrespective of whichever religion you are of, the things of the basic principles are the same, right? So সেইবোৰ অলপ জানিবলৈ চেষ্টা কৰি আছো. That's what I want to do. Uh, Family security is the topmost thing on my mind. So সেইটো কাৰণে যোগাৰ কৰি আছো. And once I'm able to do enough for my family, then I want to do a bit more for the society, especially for Assam, like giving back to my motherland sort of thing. So সেইকাৰণে আমি এটা সেই মই এছপায়াৰ একাডেমি বুলি এটা একাডেমি কৰিছো য'ত নাছৰিন is also closely involved. And so through that, we're trying to provide education at free of cost to most people, and for some, we take a nominal cost. So, so that I thought would be a good way to give back to the society, free education, because educating one person can change the entire family, right? So that's what we are trying to do, and yeah. So if I get if I am given the capacity by the forces they are, so then I would want to do more, and yeah, just try to be as positive and make others as much positive as possible.
Right. আপুনি এইটো ক'লে ন আমি নিজতকে যেতিয়া বেলেগৰ দুখটো বেছি হোৱা কিবা ঘটনা দেখো তো নিজকে অলপ ভাবো যে অকে আই এম ষ্টিল অকে। তো এতিয়া হয়তো বহুতে যদি কোনোবাই আমাৰ ভিডিঅ'টো চাই আছে, কোনোবা এইটো সময়ত তেনেকুৱা লাইফৰ লৱেষ্ট পইণ্টত আছে, তো তেনেকুৱা মানুহক আপুনি আপোনাৰ জাৰ্ণিটোৰ পৰা এনেকুৱা কোনটো কথা ক'ব যোনটো তেওঁলোকৰ মনত থাকি যাব যে য়েছ দ্যাটছ হোৱাট আই নিডেড টু হিয়াৰ।
I think the most important thing is, আমি সদায় ভাবো যে আমাৰ দুখটোৱে চবতকে ডাঙৰ দুখ, right? So and whatever it is, I mean, whether it is a breakup in a relationship, to losing a loved one, or having a physical or mental illness, or say some monetary loss or whatever, we think that we are going through the toughest of times, right? But if we take a step back and look at the bigger picture and look for people around us, there's always someone worse off. As a doctor, I have seen many patients who have been in much more severe conditions. People cannot get out of the bed. People are totally dependent on someone. There are people who are complete vegetables, that sort of thing. So সেইবোৰত কিন্তু মই যথেষ্টখিনি ভালে আছো ন so ঠিক তেনেকে কোনোবাই যদি they're thinking that the end of relationship, that's the end of the world, but then just think of what happened yesterday, right? So how much pain is there? So kind of if we not only look at the ones who are better off than us, but look at people who are worse off than us, then I think we will know that ours is not the worst condition in the world. So that's number one. Number two is to accept the situation. Often we are in denial, right? I was also in denial. Um, কিন্তু hey, when a hope is very important, but at the same time we need to accept that there are certain things যিটো মানে that is our new normal. That's our new baseline, right? So এতিয়া যদি মই এটা সপোন লৈ থাকো যে মই দৌৰি গৈ পেলাই বাছখনত উঠিম, then obviously I will be disappointed, right? Every time a bus comes and I miss it, I'll be disappointed. But on the other hand, if I am able to accept the fact যে এতিয়াৰ পৰা মই দৌৰি গৈ পেলাই বাছখনত উঠিব নোৱাৰো, মই হয়তো 10 মিনিট আগতে গৈ পেলাই মই ৰখি থাকিব লাগিব বাছখনৰ কাৰণে. So that's the change, life changing strategies that you do. So that will also make you more aware of your situation and help you cope, right? Third thing I would say is that as human beings we are very intuitive. So and often God or the superior being, the give us clues in encrypted form, right? So কিবা এটা বস্তু তোমাৰ মনত কব যে এইটো বস্তু ভাল হব নে বেয়া হব. When you meet someone, you will get the vibe whether this is going to go ahead in a positive way or this person is going to cause me harm. Yeah. So that sort of thing. But many a time we disregard it. তোমাৰ মনটোৱে ক'ব যে মই এইটো কাম নকৰিলেই ভাল, কিন্তু তথাপি আমি কৰো, right? So and that is where education actually hampers us because it takes away our natural ability of intuition. So সেইকাৰণে যদি আমি অকমান নিজকে বেছি receptive কৰিব পাৰো and we listen to our gut instinct, then more often than not you will find that it will lead you to the right path. Okay. So তুমি কাৰোবাক লগ পাইছা বা তুমি এটা কাম কৰিব আৰম্ভ কৰিছা, if your mind tells you that no, you should not do it, then try and take a step back, try and listen. On the other hand, if it says that you should go on a particular path that may be your calling, then maybe try that as well. It won't happen overnight, but I can feel now in the last couple of years, I think I'm getting that intuition more and more, that feeling of deja vu, you say, or whatever you name it. মানে এতিয়া মোৰ এনেকুৱা মই আগতে লাগে যে এইটো কথাৰ পৰা কিবা এটা বেয়া হ'ব গৈছে, মই এইটো নকৰাই ভাল, বা এইটো পথত মই নোযোৱাই ভাল. So if we can listen to those clues, so then I think you will end up in a much better way. And the final thing, as a takeaway, I would say that, there are two types of things in this world: things that we can control and things that we can't control, right? So the things we can control are basically ourselves or our reaction to something, right? So এতিয়া মই তোমাৰ লগত কথা পাতি আছো, কিবা এটা say there is an argument, right? I can only control what I say to you or how I express my feelings to you, right? I cannot control what you will say to me or how you will say it to me, right? This is an example, right? So, because our energies are finite and we only have certain hours in the day, so we should focus on the things that we can control. So basically, about how we deal with life. We cannot control what life throws at us or our circumstances are, right? So, but we can control how we react to those and what we make out of it. তুমি যিটো কৈছিলা at the beginning যে ইমানখিনি পিছত আপুনি কেনেকে আগবাঢ়ি আহিলে, so it is because I by some miracle, whatever, I was able to control my reaction. I was able to accept my situation, and I was able uh, to know that the only thing I can do is to make myself better mentally, if not physically, so that I can battle against the odds. And that's what I have done. I cannot control আকৌ কেইদিনমানৰ পিছত মোৰ গা বেছি বেয়া হ'ব পাৰে বা কালি পৰহিলে মোৰ আকৌ কেঞ্চাৰটো আহিব পাৰে, that sort of thing. but at least what I can do is to live my life fully for now. So that's what I would say, that you cannot control what the universe throws at you, but how you deal with those curveballs define who you are and what you make out of life.
Right. Because now এতিয়া আমি এনেকুৱা এটা অৱস্থাত আছো য'ত we love control, speed, right? But আপুনি যেনেকে ক'লে যে আপোনাৰ ৰেচপন্সটো এই কনভাৰচেশ্যনটোত আপোনাৰ কণ্ট্ৰল, ৰাইট? আপুনি কি ক'ব? আই থিংক আপুনি লাইফতো সেইটো ট্ৰুলি এপ্লাই কৰিলে যে আপুনি কি ৰেচপন্স দিব লাইফৰ চেলেঞ্জটোকতো আমি কণ্ট্ৰল কৰিব নোৱাৰো। Yes, yes. আৰু
See, ইয়াতে তুমি কণ্ট্ৰলটো যিটো কণ্টেক্সত কৈছা আৰু মই যিটো কৈছো অকণমান ডিফাৰেণ্ট. What I am saying is control upon myself. The control that you are talking about, the basically, I mean, we love control, we love speed and all that. That is trying to control others. সেইটো আমাৰ চবৰে আছে, অলপ capitalist, অলপ controlling হেৰি আমাৰ চবৰে আছে, right? So we want to control the environment, but actually nothing is in our hands. That is also an important thing to accept and understand. Actually, আমাৰ হাতত একোৱে নাই, আমাৰ হাতত খালি এইটোৱে আছে যে we give our best. নহয় জানো? এতিয়া again coming back to our this podcast, what is in our hands? That we have a heart to heart honest discussion. We we can at the most make sure that the lighting is good. We can make sure that the voice is good, right? সেইখিনিহে আমি কৰিব পাৰো। আমিতো এইটো কণ্ট্ৰল কৰিব নোৱাৰো ন, কিমান মানুহে এইটো চাব, কিমান মানুহে ইয়াৰ পৰা ইনস্পিৰেশ্যন পাব, কিমানে ভাল পাব, কিমানে বেয়া পাব, right? So we should therefore focus on what we do during this interview, how honest we are, how open we are, that sort of thing, rather than trying to control how many likes we get and how many people listen to us. So that is the difference in.
সেইটোৱে কৈছো যে আমি মানে
Right.
এতিয়া এনেকুৱা ষ্টেজত আছো যে আমি স্পীড ভাল পাওঁ বা কণ্ট্ৰল ভাল পাওঁ চবতে,
Yes.
বাট আমাৰ হাতত নাই। ত' সেইটো মই বুজাইছিলো।
No, no, ঠিকেই কৈছা তুমি, you're absolutely right. Yes. Yeah.
অকে, আৰু আই থিংক আমি কথাখিনি পাতিলো সকলো। বাকী এইটো 27th এপিছড আজি কমপ্লিট কৰিম। চ' আপোনাৰ কিবা অনেষ্ট অপিনিয়ন আছে নি যে হাউ কেন আই ইম্প্ৰুভ দিছ পডকাষ্ট, বি টপিক চিলেকশ্যন বা অভাৰঅল কিবা ছাজেশ্যন আপুনি কিবা দিব খুজিব?
No, I think you're doing extremely well. I'm honored to be here talking with you. It's really good in terms of topic selections. You see মানে কি ধৰণৰ trending topics আছে, current topics আছে. I think everybody loves a bit of motivation, bit of inspiration. Everybody likes to know about how to do this, how to do that sort of thing, right? The most important thing is honesty in a podcast. So trying to have an open conversation, I think. And I think সেইটোৱে তোমাৰ মানে I have said everything. So মই মানে right from wetting the bed to falling over মই গোটেইখিনিয়ে ক'লো, because I want people to hear that and people to identify with that. So I would suggest that hey, তোমাৰ guest খিনিক বাকি যি guestক মাতা চবকে এইটোৱে encourage কৰিবা, so that they can have a high confidence on you, and they can be open uh, in whatever they say. I'm sure you'll go from strength to strength, and it'll be very good. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. কথা পাতি বহুত ভাল লাগিলে। মই আপোনাৰ ষ্টৰিটো নাচিৰৰ
Thank
পৰা
you.
হয়তো শুনি আছিলোৱে, বাট আজি আপোনাৰ মুখেৰে গোটেইখিনি ষ্টাৰ্টিঙৰ পৰা এতিয়ালৈকে শুনি ভাল লাগিলে, মটিভেশ্যন
Thank
পালো।
you.
আৰু যোনে শুনি আছে মই তেওঁলোককো এইটোৱে ক'ব বিচাৰো যে এইটো অকল মটিভেশ্যন ৰিমাইণ্ডাৰ হিচাপে নহয়, বাট এইটো লগতে ল'ব লাগিব যে লাইফত অহা চেলেঞ্জবোৰ আমি কণ্ট্ৰল কৰিব নোৱাৰো, বাট আমি নিজক কি ধৰণে কণ্ট্ৰল কৰিম সেইটো ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট। চ' থেংক ইউ চ' মাচ, ছাৰ। থেংক ইউ।
Thank you. Now, I would encourage them to read my book if they want to. It's called The Second Chance in Life. It's available on Amazon as an audio book, as a Kindle, as a paperback as well. আৰু তাৰ অসমীয়া অনুবাদো হৈছে জীৱনৰ দ্বিতীয় সুযোগ বুলি। So anybody who wants to read and know more, they're very welcome to do so. ইউটিউবত মোৰ দুটামান ইণ্টাৰভিউজ দুটামান টক্স আছে so if people find it useful then do it and if anyone wishes to contact me then via you or via my email or WhatsApp they're more than welcome to do it so we can put out my email at the end of the show it's bora.dr@gmail.com so সেইটো তুমি দিব পাৰা if anyone wants to get in contact for any sort of counseling or anything. So basically, so yeah, I'd be very happy and thank you for
you,
getting me
sir.
on your show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah, sir, I will add your details with this video, mail ID, or the contact details. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.